Hailing from her castle, she flies down to greet us with cursed information, bat facts, and a wealth of in-depth comic book knowledge. I'm still convinced she has time powers, despite her insisting she doesn't. The one, the only, Con VTube, aka Connie. Punch, 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 punch.
Hello. Ah.
Oh, I need to actually fix the layering here and put you behind chat. There we go.
There we go.
I should actually also put you behind me. For in case of wings. Those things get dangerous.
They do.
I
I assume it's very similar to the ponytail, so.
That's true. I do have a pretty strong ponytail. Use it like a whip, like Shantae. Oh, the consular. Oh no, it's already starting.
Nope, nope, we've retired that one.
I have bad news for viewer questions today.
It's fine. I keep it around just in case I ever want it.
Alrighty. Well, for those who aren't as familiar with you, would you like to give an introduction?
Yep. It was there and then it was gone. And that is probably the best introduction to me, if I'm being honest. I'm calling you Con VTube, which is the name you'll find me under on all my platforms, except for Tumblr. Get used to hearing that hear me saying that exact thing very soon. I am a magical bat VTuber from my castle, which is in Canada. That's about it. We don't talk about the time powers, all right? We don't acknowledge them.
I think a lot about that one time we swapped bodies. That was an adventure. It was crazy to feel like I had time powers.
I still go back to the meow clip. Oh my god.
Meow.
I don't think I've ever committed to a bit that hard before.
It's so funny. It's like one of my favorite April Fools kind of ever. Last year, me and Smickle talked about doing it, and how we were going to do it is I was going to give him my model for VTube Studio, and he was going to give me like a 2-part PNG, like mouth open and mouth closed PNG of like himself. Since he is a flesh tuber, an actual IRL streamer.
Oh my god.
It ended up falling through though, mostly because I'm partially worried about doing accidental blackface.
That's fair and valid.
It's okay. It can stay funny in our brains though. Without further ado, just so you know, this is a glorified yap session and less of an interview or anything like that. So try and get comfortable. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. For the drink of tonight, the drink of the night, we don't really have a drink of the night. A, because I kind of forgot about it and the promotional material, and B, because we're not really drinking tonight. Or at least like alcoholic drinking tonight. Me, because I still have a little bit of a hangover from Thanksgiving. And Con because she simply preferred not to.
I am not a big drinker. I usually have like one drink a year, if that. So
it could have been 2.
It could have been. I've not had mine for this year, so like.
I do, however, tonight have with me a glass of, it's like half and half cranberry juice and club soda. Very fizzy, very yummy. And I'm assuming, based on the logistics form, that you may have a Pepsi beside you.
Oh, I don't know if it picked that up. I
A
have a
little
very
bit.
I have a very small one. They've because I can't have a lot of sugar, so this
Mm.
is what I allow myself.
Just a little bit as a treat.
Yeah, it's just one of the short cans.
um, is there any particular thing that got you hooked on Pepsi in particular?
My mom.
Was she a really
Uh,
big Pepsi head?
yeah, it's only half a joke that we were both addicted to Pepsi. So, um, yeah, it's mostly because that was the pop that was available in my house for the most part growing up. So,
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I used to have a lot of Sprite for the same reason because it was always in our household. Mm. Um, cool. So I have a list of questions that I made myself, handcrafted just for you. And then after those, we will take a quick break, bathroom, do what we must do. And then we will get into viewer questions for the night.
sounds good.
I am very excited for some of them. People were particularly silly this time around, so you seem worried. What's wrong?
Again, I'm just thinking about the DM you got before, just slightly before we went live, so it's fine.
I can't be that bad.
It can't be that bad.
Shout out to the people who were literally submitting their questions at like 5:20, like 5:25. Y'all are silly. The form has been available for weeks at this point, especially since we had to reschedule. Come on.
I
Get it
admittedly
together.
didn't. I admittedly didn't post it that first few weeks, but I did. I did after I posted the schedule, so they've had at least a few days.
ADHD is a hell of a drug. You know what? That's totally fair.
It really is.
I'm glad for Mudkid for reposting it in general today, and it reminded me to just post it in announcements again. If you see the occasional shadow appear over ConCon, by the way, it's because we're screen sharing Discord for the model, and so
I'm being sucked into the shadow realm.
Oh, is this another bat power?
No. No.
Are we adding? Are we adding shadow powers to the list?
No, because if you get, getting sucked into the shadow realm is not a power; it's a punishment.
Oh, okay. Maybe we will avoid that then. First things first, then, or I guess second things second, since I've said first things first, maybe like 3 times already. Let's get to my first question for you tonight. We always like to start with a bit of history for all of our guests. So I want to start with what were some of your passions? So some of the stuff you were into before you started content creation.
I have been a like a post by post role player
Mm.
forever. So
Oh.
creative writing, but also like collaborative creative writing.
Mm.
Yeah, I was under the age of 13 the first time I signed up for a website. Don't do that. Adults in the chat. So I've been doing it for quite a long time. So writing is one of the big ones. And I discovered that I just really enjoyed acting in like 4th grade because that was the year that I had it as an elective.
Mm.
Not an elective. My school did like you would cycle through various different like elective things in 4th grade, so we got to try all of them that first year.
Mm.
Um, and I discovered I was just in love with acting through that. So I've been doing that for a while now too, although off and on, and then I mean just, usual stuff. I played video games growing up.
Do you think all of that stuff sort of attributed to you becoming a content creator?
100%. And like everything I do is like creative output to be shared, you know?
uh
With the exception of playing video games, which is like you can share that, you don't have to.
mm.
It's like everything else is all stuff that's like you put it it's maybe meant to be in front of an audience, doesn't have to be in front of an audience, but it's still like external, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So why VTubing in particular? Did you try anything before uh getting into VTubing?
There was a very brief period of flesh tubing. Very brief. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks. Um, those VODs have been nuked, so this was years ago. Um, and I think I'd sort of always had like my eye on it. Like Keys in the Eye was definitely like a person on my radar for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I was always like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I know about Face Rig because like Let's Player I used to
Yeah.
follow did like a video on Face Rig, so like I knew that it existed, you know?
uh.
And then it started to really blow up in a certain year for reasons we all understand. And I went, all right, you know, like I've graduated university. I'm looking for work. I need to just do something with my time.
mm.
And VTubing was like I had talked with my partner about it, and we had talked back and forth about like, you know, would I want to do that? Like I was enjoying streaming, but it was just like, you know, a woman online, put your face out there, and all of the things that come with that.
Yeah.
And we decided so I decided mostly to do it because it was like, okay, for the anonymity, the character part of it, which yes, 100% plays back into the being an actor thing. Um, and just yeah, there was a level of like it was kind of the thing that people were doing at the time,
Mhm.
and I saw a decent deal on a model. Not a model, but on an artist who would do models and rigging.
Was Leah Mama your first model?
Yep.
Yippee! uh Leah Mama was also my first model. I was like one of her very first clients. Which is why I had like the weird kind of jank half body that I had for like my first model. Um but I would not change that shit for the world. She really got me hooked on VTubing because I had been using face rig for like default orange hair face rig model for like I want to say it had to have been about half a year before I finally broke down and was like, okay, it's time. Because before that, I did I also started with like some in-person stuff. Because like mine went back to a couple years before I started like regularly streaming, doing events for Extra Live, or Extra Life. And those were all done in person while I was in like high school and then early university. And then I tried some face streaming and then went like for doing it regularly, I was like, oh, this is too much for me. This is exhausting to have my face up there all the time. uh,
Yeah, I think there was also just a level of like it is kind of exhausting to just be aware that like because it's obviously camera on you regardless, but like
mm,
it's very different, you know. Something
yeah.
about it is less exhausting somehow.
There's a level of separation with having a model where it's like, for example, like I can be in my PJs when I'm doing a show like this or whatever. Like there's that level of separation where it's like, okay, I can be comfortable myself with whatever I am doing in person while always having the presentation of the model in front of me.
Yeah. Not having to worry about what you look like before you get in
Yeah.
front of the camera. Yeah.
Me with my mop of curly hair, not having to like thoroughly brush it and stuff before I stream so I don't look like a rat. Uh, um, what has been your favorite arc of your content creation career?
Oh God.
Is it like a particular game or like series of stuff that you did, or like people that you were around at the time that like really sticks out for you?
I have always felt very fondly about the era of the Eldritch headbat monsters.
Oh my god, I forgot about those.
Um, they did start getting to a point where it's like, okay, I'm like doing more of this than I am of the street, like the game, so I need to start cutting it back a little bit. But like, very fondly remember that entire era. So era, I
Yeah,
say it like it wasn't like a few months, but like,
yeah. Hey, I mean that's an arc. That's an era. Time is forever moving, but love those moments. Gosh, I still remember getting screenshots of you becoming a head path monster and just just reveling in it.
yeah, I have some clips from a few of those times that I'm like, I just need to edit these and really just get them out there because oh my god.
Oh my goodness gracious. So you took a bit of a break recently, an extended break, but now that you're getting back into the swing of things, how is it feeling to be putting yourself back on the screen again?
I fe- it feels good. It also feels extremely nerve-wracking because I'm like, oh god, I'm so out of practice. You know, like I haven't puppeted a model in a while.
Uh.
I haven't had to just talk to myself out loud in a while. Although I do just do that sometimes, so maybe not actually that's out of practice with that one. Um uh feels good. It feels yeah, it's like again, it's something that's helping to be a bit of an outlet. It is immediately making my ADHD brain go, okay, but we also are going to do this and this and this, and the part of me that logically knows that we need to slow down is like, but like it feels good to finally to be able to sort of just start doing things again. Be able
Hmm.
to just stream again, just sort of share my my thoughts, I guess, again. I'll be honest, here we're probably like I wouldn't blame anyone if you're not there for the gameplay. I am not good at video games.
What do you mean? I was locked the fuck in for bug snacks.
Listen, I gamed out of my mind with bug snacks.
That's true.
Especially that time I got trapped in the geometry.
Oh my god. I loved that so much.
So it feels good to sort of just I get it. And also just it's nice to, you know, have even a small community of people who it's like, yeah, I can just sort of say shit
Mm.
into the void and sometimes I hear things back and it's like, okay, cool. I'm not alone.
Sometimes the void speaks back to me. Oh, taking notes, taking notes. Bat void powers.
Nope, no, no, no,
Speaking
no,
to
no.
the.
Those ones are not mine. I don't know who's doing this to me.
Oh goodness gracious! Yeah, I definitely feel that though. The just like the feeling of just getting your thoughts and your, especially with like gaming stuff, because like I take a little bit of the like video game reviewer or like critic mindset as I'm playing stuff, and I like just being able to yap about mostly what I'm enjoying and sometimes what I'm getting frustrated by, like when I'm playing whatever I'm playing. So just being able to get sort of feedback immediately from other people of like if I think something is dumb, but then somebody in chat is like, well, but like it's like that because of this, and it's like it helps reshape my my mindset on a lot of stuff. Unless they're backseating me, and then I want to beat them up. I'll fist fight them.
Put him up. Put him up.
Put them up. I'll get you. Oh, hell yeah. Let's see here. What is the most overwhelming part of streaming for you?
It's ironic because it's also just the constant talking at the same time. It's nice to do it, but also sometimes you're like, I have no thoughts currently.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, but obviously you don't have to literally talk the entire stream. But there's a level of like trying to think about, okay, where are we going next? What are we talking about next? What do I need to focus on next so that I can, keep things moving a little bit. And then also just when you get raids from massive creators whose audiences have very different expectations, and you're like, I hope you like this.
Yeah, it's always, raids from big creators is always so scary, especially when it's like that mentality of like wanting them to feel welcome and hoping that a couple of them stay. Like out of like 100 people coming into your chat, like maybe one or two of them sticks around and like enjoys what you're doing, because it's kind of impossible to please everybody, especially if that creator's like content clashes with yours.
I got raided by let me just double check that I do in fact know his name. But he is not a VTuber.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember his name now, heck. But like one of the bigger ones, not like, like a disguised toast or anything, but
Yeah.
like not an insubstantial fan base. And I was like, oh god, hi, I'm an anime girl. Also, we're kind of in the middle of like having an extremely emotional moment in this game, which is I know why you rated me, because you were looking for somebody who was at like one of these moments in this game, but like
like I am not prepared for this.
Yes, thank you. It was Jesse Cox.
Oh, it was Jesse Cox? Oh my
yes,
god.
It was Jesse Cox. Yeah, he rated me like super early on in my streaming. Like I was streaming Final Fantasy 14, which I mean, same game content in terms of like what we were sharing there. But it was like super early into my streaming career, and it was like suddenly several hundred people, and I was like, and you're cool. I am I was not prepared. I was not ready.
It's such a jump scare. That is, God, that is crazy. I've heard that name for like most of my online life. Oh yeah, goodness.
It was both exciting and terrifying.
Yeah. I think raiding is like particularly stressful in that sense, because a lot of time when it's like I guess like a meet your heroes situation TM of just like content creators you look up to or like have heard about in the space. And normally if you like go to a convention and something, you're meeting them on your terms, where it's like you go to their panel and like listen to them talk, or like go to their autograph signing or whatever and talk with them. But streaming, you are the one on the stage, and then suddenly they walk into the room with their audience and it's like, hi.
And you're like, oh, I was this is my one act show. I was not.
Oh, it's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I also feel you big time on like the like that feeling of having to talk the whole time. And usually it's not a problem for me when And it's one of the reasons why I usually have like people around, because if I have like at least one other person in the call that I can just like back and forth with, like a Game Grumps episode or whatever, of just like shoot the shit with them, even if it's not necessarily about the game that we're playing. It's way easier for me. And like I can do solo content, but it really depends on what I'm doing, because if it's like a new game that I haven't played before and I am trying to do solo stuff for it, it is so incredibly hard because my brain can only focus on one thing at a time. And if I'm trying to focus on like learning the game and stuff like that, I I'm usually locked in. Like RPGs are especially hard for me to just like yap over, because I'm there, I'm trying to listen to like voice lines, I'm trying to like think about playing the video game, and I will just shut up for like tens of minutes and then remember, oh yeah, I'm streaming, I need to I need to talk to chat. Ugh.
Yeah, RPGs in particular are like, hey, I'm really trying to engage with the story, but like I do have to split my focus. So
Yeah. So having Darkle in the call with me while I was playing through Phantom Brave is such a blessing, because Darkle is also sitting there locked into like what I'm doing in the game and like making comments on it and like bantering with me, and it is mentally a saving grace, because I will just go nonverbal and play the video game and then look over at my chat and be like, because a lot of my chat ends up being lurkers, especially during long stuff like that. So it's like chat isn't really moving, I'm not really talking, the video game is still going. It's like, oh, time to game. Ah, very, very, very stressful indeed. It can be. But at the same time, I feel like if I'm just like yapping about like nothing, then I guess I don't like yapping about just like nothing, or have hard time finding it unless it's something that I'm like passionate about. I don't like small talk. I suck at small talk.
I'm so bad at small talk too. My problem is that it just skips the small talk and I just start talking about something else that my brain has decided we can talk about for 3 hours straight if we have to.
That's huge.
Listen, every once in a while the ADHD does help.
It's about making ADHD is a superpower, right?
No.
Oh, I hate hearing that shit. Oh, it makes me so angry.
Yeah, a superpower that means that I sometimes just lay in bed for 3 hours yelling at myself to get up the entire time.
Yeah. Ooh, very, very fun. Very cool. Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
useful.
body. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's get into a little bit of tea time. What's your biggest pet peeve with the VTubing community?
You like started to say it and I went, oh yeah, and then it left. Again.
There it is. There's the superpower kicking in.
Yeah, it's gone. It's just gone. I'm like trying to pick up the threads of it and it's gone. I'm like, I do think I want to say that there's a level of like, I have been in very insular communities for a long time. Again, it's like post by post role play. Those are usually very small communities, right?
Yeah.
I was in cosplay, and I still technically am in the cosplay community, and like it's not a small community, but it is a community where it's like you probably know like a decent amount of people. It's a 5 degrees of separation type community where it's like
Yeah.
you almost always have a direct line to something that's happening, even if it's halfway across the world. And it like, so VTubing is very small. It's quite niche. And I feel like there's a level of just like people thinking that both taking that too far to the point of being like, oh well, we're so niche. It's like we're all such a gelled community, and I'm like, no, no, there are people in this community I do not talk to.
Yeah.
But then also people like I think not realizing how small it is and thinking that they can sort of like slip things through without people noticing, like when people leave for any number of reasons and then try to come back under a new alias, and it's like, hey, but people are going to know it's still you.
Yeah.
Like it's actually not that easy to immediately hide who you are, you know?
Yeah, especially
Like,
when it's like people will leave and then come back in like a month or whatever. And everyone is just like, hey, by the way, this is their new account and they're streaming again.
all right, back on the block list they go.
I can't believe it. The thing that really kills me about those people in particular is like it'll be them getting canceled for like one thing or another, you know, them doing something stupid, and instead of owning up to it and like actually trying to get better or like improve themselves as a person, they will just shed their skin like a snake, like the snake that they are, and then make a new account and be like, ooh, I'm definitely not the same person and I'm definitely not going to make that same mistake again.
So rude to snakes. Snakes don't deserve this.
They don't. They really don't. I love snakes. They make me
They're
smile.
so cute.
Oh, there was a thought for me when we were making our Tip the Scales characters that there was a universe where Saki was instead a Nagaji, a snake lady. There was a universe. It did not happen.
You can't put that image in my head like that. I would have had to scrap Arla because I was like, I can't. I need somebody who's of a more similar age now. I'm sorry.
No. Now you just get aloof dragon girl.
Okay, she's Arla's daughter, so it's completely fine.
Do you have
Chad
any?
has no idea. There is no context for this.
No idea. It's okay. It'll come up again later. Smiles. Like, oh, true. The first episode of it is dropping next week too. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I have a segment for that. Let's see here. Where do we leave off? Do you have any content creation pet peeves that extend outside of just VTubing? Like any sort of like editing stuff or just like stuff that creators do in general that really grinds your gears?
I mean, this is a very basic one. I think a lot of people who are creatives probably feel this way, but like content scrapers really bother me for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Especially now because you can just like take a post off of Tumblr and put an AI voice over it over top of like a Minecraft gameplay that also isn't yours, and that thing will still get 1,000 views. And you know what? It'll get mine too because I'll stop to listen to it and then be like, "No, stop! You're not supposed to be supporting these people."
Stop! I need to not watch it. The amount of like literally Reddit posts over Minecraft parkour that I have just like brain rotted, like listened to and gotten like 3/4 of the way through the story and then just been like, I should really stop consuming this actual garbage.
Yeah, I think there's a level of it too where it's like, listen, I'm not going to name any channels or names or anything, but it's like there's some of them where it's like I at least believe that you curated this list and it's like your voiceover on it, so there was some effort put into it. But when you've had to do none of the work, I'm like, just as somebody who does do creative work that involves a lot of like my own blood, sweat, and tears. I have bled over cosplays before.
Yeah.
Like, it bothers me so much because I'm like, I'll take a photo in my cosplay and I'll post it online and it'll get seen by, a couple hundred people. And
Mhm.
I am not complaining about, those people seeing it, but it's frustrating to see that get that much traction and then something that somebody put no effort into gets
Yeah.
significantly more traction.
Yeah, just like hand tailored to be algorithmically positive and take off automatically. I can think of a lot of like incredibly funny like little clips and stuff that I've posted on TikTok, for example. That is just like really unique, original stuff with the crew. That I think is hilarious, and it like barely even like tricks the algorithm or like trips the algorithm, and I get like 200, 300 views on it or something, and then I just post like slop with a TikTok sound over it, and it's like boom, suddenly like 2,000, 3,000 views, like a couple hundred likes, and I'm like, it's so draining. I want to be creative.
Yeah. I've been working on my editing, sort of figuring out sort of like the style I want to go with, and just doing some in general, sort of uh, off and on during my break. I was kind of doing a little bit, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of really enjoying like the editing process and all of this. And then I
Mhm.
think about like posting it online, and I'm like,
uh,
like, is it gonna be worth it though?
yeah.
And like I will eventually. I'm mostly building up a backlog at this point, but
Mhm.
like there have been times where I was like, well, I could start posting it, and then I think about like, but if I'm not consistent at the time that I post it, and all these other things, it'll just get buried in the algorithm, especially on TikTok.
Yeah. All these platforms like so much consistency nowadays, and if you aren't like an effectively built creator, it's incredibly hard to do those like super high quality, like maybe like monthly, every other monthly videos. Like I can think of some creators. Breadsword is one of my favorite like video essayists. And they make super good video essays. But they only upload like God, maybe twice a year at this point. But they're in the space that they can do that now.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, I just want to be in a place where I can just drop one video a year and disappear. I just want to be in that H-bomb space. Just want to be in that
Yeah.
H-bomber guy space where I can drop one video that's 3 hours long and disappear.
See you guys next year for my next like deep dive.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing I have been hyperfixating on all fucking year. Take the video and I'll see you next year.
Peace. Here's
Peace.
my Patreon link.
God. Yeah, it is incredibly draining. And it's that like for like uh I guess it's harder to say for Blue Sky because there isn't as much of like a thing to drag from, but at least Twitter or older Twitter is a big thing with artists for like they put a ton of work into certain pieces or whatever and barely get any traction, and then they post like one meme picture that they drew up in like 5 minutes, and that blows the hell up. And it's just like, what is it all for? Yeah, Kingdom Blarts. God, my friend Hannah. If anybody can
What?
find the Kingdom Blarts picture for me, that would be awesome. Uh, but she does a bunch of super good art and posts decently regularly, and then just one time on Twitter decided to yeah, there it is. um Made that as a joke and slapped that up there, and then that's her most liked post, and it isn't even art, it's just something that she like quickly photoshopped and like slapped onto Twitter.
Okay, but listen, as a connoisseur and creator of bad photoshops, this is really good.
Yeah, she's goated.
Like, there's so much effort put into that hand on the like hilt of the keyblade. I would never. I would make it look bad on purpose because it's so much easier.
She's the goated one. It's just crazy. It's like incredibly draining for me creatively for that sort of stuff to happen. It's just like, ugh. I want to put the heavy effort forward to make a cool thing, but then it's the, I'm trying to think of what people call it, but it's the property of like, you know, the more effort you put into something, the less the algorithm will like it.
Why does my brain want to say like it's like the Christmas sweater scenario? It's not what it's called, but there's like a thing in the knitting community that's about like that literal thing of how much effort you put into whatever you're going to gift someone is not going to be received back. Specifically, I don't know why they have it in the knitting community.
Can't see it because I don't have a Twitter account. Oh, here, let me show this to chat for those who thankfully don't have Twitter. Just open image in new tab, and I'll open it here.
I unfortunately still do, although it's been locked down and I've not posted on it for like basically.
Trying to do this without deleting Connie. Do I even have a display chat on here? I don't. I'll just change this.
I just saw the first dimension for a moment.
Why? I didn't think it would be this difficult to do this. I just don't have this here. I'll just slap a display capture up. This is the easiest way. Whoa, wrong display. There we go.
Hi, Chaz.
I'll figure out exactly how I want to do this. But yeah, this is
it's
it.
Fine.
It's like you can see the keyblade thing that Konkon is talking about. The like hand actually holding it. It's crazy good. There you go. Get rid of that now and bring you back over to here. I have now realized that I fucked up something on cropping your model. And it's 5 pixels that are going to annoy the shit out of me, but they have been remedied now. There we go.
I'm making peace signs that nobody can see. I do this all the time.
I do too.
I'm like, oh yeah, doing peace signs or like hand gestures, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Nobody can see this.
You just need hand tracking, Smiles.
I really do.
It's time for the Konkon 3D model. Could be huge. Oh.
No, I genuinely can't afford one. So, and not unless something changes real quick.
I will say that from personal experience, getting my 3D model from my 3D model mama was like way cheaper than getting a 2D model, and it still looks very nice. So if it's ever something that you're interested in, if you're interested in getting like a 2.0, hit me up, and I know oomps.
I will probably look into it sometime in the future. Definitely not until after holiday season.
Oh yeah, of course.
I have to buy presents still.
Oh god, 'tis the season.
It sure is.
Time for the Konkon 3D model GoFundMe. True. Cool. Any inspiring pieces of media that you can think of? What are some things that really made you want to not even just do content creation, but just like what are pieces of media that make you think? Make you smile.
This one is going to hit exactly maybe 3 people in the audience if I'm lucky. But I grew up getting to watch a program called Mr. Dress Up, who was Canadian Mr. Rogers, but he had a costume trunk. Um, and looking back on it, I'm like, wow. I really just saw this guy be like, I'm just gonna put on costumes and like play pretend, and went, that's what I want to do. At like the age of 3.
3-year-old Connie going, that's me for real.
For real, for real. There's puppets. Oh my god, that's so cool. Like, wow. There's a stage. I don't think I was not cognizant of like puppets and like stage dressing and stuff. But when I look back on it, I'm like, I think I was like aware a little bit. I wasn't aware that like it wasn't real in the way that like a human being in front of a camera is. But like,
Mm.
and I don't know. There's so many just stories that I've sort of just I just remembered that warrior cats exist.
Yeah! Oh my god, warrior cats. I love warrior cats. Or loved. Smiles.
I wear that one on my sleeve, I'll be honest. I'm not even ashamed of it anymore.
Me too.
There's a lot of things, but like going back to it, because we talked about something very briefly earlier about Tokyo Mew Mew, or as I called it when I was a kid, Mew Mew Power.
Yeah,
that was its name when it aired on YTV. Oh my god, it immediately got me into the magical girl genre, and like I went through a period where I wasn't watching anime growing up, but like it kind of never let go. And I think it's very fair to say that I am very inspired by the magical girl genre, and I think it's obvious.
Maybe just a little bit. You got the card captor beret. You got the little trinkets in your hair.
I've always talked about how if I ever got a second outfit, I really just want to commission somebody to do a magical girl transformation.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
I'm like, it's gonna be expensive because animation, but oh my god, I want to do it so bad.
It makes me think of Hannah. She had like a PNG, like a magical girl PNG, and like her normal PNG, and the transformation between them was just like a gif of Sailor Moon transformation would appear over her little PNG, and then it would be off, and it would have the pigtails.
So good. And then I don't know, there's a bunch of stories I think growing up that like have just stuck with me. Anything that was kind of, I am a sucker for something that makes me feel things. Like there's literally one of the animated Batman movies. There's a scene in it that I cry every single time I watch it, and I'm like, I'm just waiting to get to share this movie with my partner because we're going through the animated series first. But like, I'm like, you need to watch this because you have to understand how much it changed me as a person. Yeah, anything that sort of has like a very obvious human sort of story behind it, that there's clearly emotion there. Not necessarily going to inspire me, but like I draw a lot of value from those types of stories, and some of them have inspired me in certain ways. But if I ever put out anything that's less just sort of live content and more sort of scripted, it's like I want to get there. I can't promise I'll get there immediately, but
that's the stuff that always excites me about like tabletop stuff, and specifically doing some of the like tabletop podcasts or like recordings like we're doing with Tip the Scales. It's like we get to do collaborative storytelling and tell some really down to earth sort of human stories, and I love that kind of stuff.
I'm thinking about where we are currently.
Yeah.
I love the Torment Nexus. I'm so glad they built it.
Yippee! Yay! Cool. Do you have a favorite superhero?
Yeah. I mean, I really only ever talk about one. So. That's not true. That's not true. I talk about the rest of the Bat family too, but Batman with the Bat family specifically is my favorite superhero. If he doesn't have his kids with him, he sucks and I hate him. I mean, if he's got those kids with him, he's great. I love him.
Batman sleeper, Bat family huge.
Yeah, 100%. Bat Dad, great. Love that man. Batman, ugh. I'm so tired. I mean, I have some favorites that are kind of a lot more obscure that I could also list. I'm a massive. Unfortunately, she doesn't exist anymore because they ruined her character. But I was a big Oracle fan for a while. If only because, quite frankly, there's barely any wheelchair superheroes in DC at all. But also because, like, man, she was so cool. I wanted to live in her clock tower.
Clock towers are so cool.
Her, like, weird spy lair clock tower.
Yeah.
I'm also actually a really big Black Canary fan.
Oh, I haven't heard much about Black Canary.
The problem is I can't even tell you that much. I just, like, I've read a few comics that she was in. I've seen some of the cartoons she was in, and I went, yes.
Decla's also popping off.
Yeah, Black Canary. I love her so much. And then I also watched Arrow, which we don't talk about. She was in that, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of heard about that show in general.
Don't watch it if you're a Black Canary fan. You will not be happy.
CW shows Lamau.
Correct. Arrow and Green Arrow are not the same person. They have the same names. They live in the same cities. They are not the same people.
Oh my god, incredibly funny.
Oh, and Vixen. Sorry, I just suddenly remembered Vixen, the other one.
No, you're fine.
She's super underrated, but I love her so much.
I'm having a hard time bringing her to mind. What is her thing? What does she do?
She has. I don't know how to explain this. She has animal powers, but it's like she has a necklace that I don't know exactly. There might be some weird cultural stuff there that I don't know, and I'm just saying it outright that I don't know. So please be kind. She, like, it like grants her like animal abilities. It doesn't turn her into an animal, but like if she was to like grab it and like think of a cheetah, she could run really fast. That sort of thing. She's most prominent in JLU, or at least that's where I was first really introduced to her. And to be fair, kind of the only content I've seen with her in it. She's really hard to find anything for.
The classic.
She exists, but I have some thoughts on why that might be, but you know, it's fine.
Ooh. Ugh. All right. It's time. As chat may or may not know by this point, we are both part of a tabletop campaign called Tip the Scales, which should be releasing soon. Now it's supposed to be Tuesday is when the first episode drops. Every Tuesday? Like every other?
I don't know.
Don't know if that's going to be it. We play like every other Tuesday, but
to keep up the backlog, I have to assume no.
Yeah. But this coming Tuesday is going to be the first episode drop, and I'm very excited because technically, me and Dr. Toto Hex, who I should also invite on here one of these days.
Yes.
Both me and her were actually added to this campaign like late, because there was somebody else who was playing in our spot, and then ConCon here reached out to me and to Toto, and I was like, "Hey, would either of you like to fill this spot?" And then we both said yes.
I did not think it through. Listen, I'm very happy with the outcome, but
Me too.
in the moment I was like, oops.
Oopsies. But now we're playing with a group of 5 and it works well. And our DM just decided, fuck it, taking the first 8 or like 7 episodes before we would actually show up. And they just turned that into a recap. Like they did like a voiceover of it. And then stuck us in that first sort of episode where we show up. But which I'm happy about, because I was like, ooh, it's gonna be a kind of hard sell to some of my community to be like, hey, watch this like live play podcast. I appear in episode 8. By the way, all the episodes are like 2 hours plus long.
Also, 2 members of the party are gonna be gone before Miz even gets there.
Yeah.
Because it was like, because you guys were introduced literally the episode after I had swapped out my first character, because I was like, I don't have, this character does not have a forward, like an arc that she can follow. I need something different. So I swapped out to a different character. So it would definitely be like a bit confusing, or just like not super, I'm not gonna say not super fun to watch, but just like it would be a lot of change very sudden, very quickly.
Yeah. But yeah, if you end up wanting, here, let me actually, I pulled up Milk's channel. It should be here, I think this is where it's getting posted, as Milk's YouTube.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so go there, make sure to sub to them. It should be appearing there, and I will post an announcement when it actually drops as well. But yeah, if you want to see me play probably one of my more personal characters, and like one of the characters that I more personally get into the skin of, that is where you can see. If you want to see Con be mom, you can also go there. Not mommy. That's weird.
No, definitely not.
That's weird. But mom.
I don't think she would know how to respond to that. Something the kids say nowadays.
So true. Mom Con. Yeah, like literally picked you up off of the street and was like, yeah, you're my kid now.
She just picks up strays, both animals and people, leaving over this.
On the topic of tabletop, outside of Tip the Scales, and I guess we've talked about this a little bit up to this point, but how much tabletop experience do you have? You said you did a bunch of play-by posts as well.
Yeah, those were less TTRPG sort of vibe. They were a lot more sort of like, obviously rules and stuff, but it's very open, and there's no like game master or anything. It's just more like forum posts, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, I have my like home game that has been going for a little bit now, off and on, because trying to get people in person is somehow harder. I
agree wholeheartedly.
And there's like 4 of us, and 2 of us live in the same house. It should not be this hard. I'm counting the GM. Me, I live with the GM. So I've been playing that for a little bit, and prior to that, I had a group that played for a couple of years now that I'm thinking about it, because while I was still in university, and then things happened 4 years ago, and then also I moved out of the town I was living in at the time because I was no longer going to university there. And that one sort of fell apart. So it's been a couple of years, but it's been pretty limited in terms of like games or systems.
Mm.
And I do want to fix that. God, I want to play a Vampire the Masquerade game so bad.
Oh, that system looks so cool.
I want to play one so bad, and I'm like, but I'm gonna have to be the person who jams it, and I don't want that. So I
I
want to
totally
play in
feel
it.
that. There's so many systems, and as like a pretty dedicated DM in a lot of situations, like it's only like in this last year and a half ish that I've actually been able to be like a player in games for the last while, because like most of the time, like I ran Lacrimosa for a year, or yeah, for a full year, and I DM'd that, and I've ran a lot of shorter campaigns and campaigns that were supposed to go longer. Like uh, Lacrimosa was the first campaign that I had actually like finished that had like a real ending. Um and it was the my third third attempt at like a live play podcast. So that's about how the other ones ended up going for one reason or the other. So like actually being able to play now in like Tip the Scales, my friend Derek is running us through Abomination Vaults. Early is running us through Season of Ghosts, which are both um uh Pathfinder 2e adventure packs. Darkle inviting us for like a Breath of the Wild inspired system. It's called Reclaim the Wild. It's really cool. But there's a lot of systems that I find that I think are really cool and I want to try them, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to get anybody else to DM this. Like I just ran a couple of sessions in Sleuts of Vice and Violence, which is like a raunchy satirical sort of world made by this one guy who posts a bunch of he does like a bunch he's a lewd artist and does a bunch of that sort of stuff, but like the whack ass world that he has created is so cool, and I was like, I need to play in this world, whether it is like as a DM or a player. You're the one that ran Panic at the Dojo. Yeah, Panic at the Dojo is really cool. That system is like built on the idea of a fighting game, and so like a lot of the mechanics are sort of like uh like inspired by different sort of fighting game tropes and so on and so forth. Just like I love playing around in different systems.
Oh, this is just reminding me that I keep thinking to myself, all right, one of these days you're gonna get the source book so that you know what you're doing. But I want to run a game in the the Magnus Archives game that they like put out. That was like a TTRPG based off of the world of the Magnus
Oh
Archives, and I'm like, I want to run one of these games so bad. Oh
yeah.
my god.
So cool.
When I have more time and energy, maybe I will pick that one up.
That's
But
always the caveat. It's like,
yeah.
I want to run all these games. Each game takes like so much emotional and like mental energy, especially as a GM if you have to like have a bunch of stuff that you have to set up and like prep beforehand, especially if it's like a handmade thing. I see chat has found redeems and that they're on because I was too lazy to turn them off.
Yep.
um but yeah, it just takes tabletop and collaborative storytelling stuff takes a lot.
And I keep thinking about how it's like it's going to take even more if I was to run this game because this is a horror setting. So there's so much more like
uh
work that has to go into making sure that you and your players are being safe while also exploring some fucked up shit.
yeah.
So, God, I want to so bad.
Oh, surely at some point. Surely at some point we will find the time to run all of the campaigns that we would like to.
Really. I can't get more busy, right?
Yeah, surely, Smiles. Is there something in particular that draws you to like tabletop RPGs?
It's basically just a way for me to act at my friends.
I like act at my friends.
Yeah, mostly.
Not with at.
Mostly. You know, every once in a while. To be fair, a lot of the table, like the first table I played at, it was like only two of us were really like engaging with the role play. So to be fair, I was mostly acting at the rest of the table. And that was mostly just because first time players, and like again, I went to school for theater, so I was already down. I had bought in. And like my partner just doesn't doesn't care. So he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do things that are silly. Like I don't care." But the other two were like very scared by it. So I mean, it is kind of a little bit currently the only sort of it's not full on acting, obviously, but like it's the closest I'm currently getting. So there's a little bit of that, admittedly. I mean, it's just a level of like, I've been doing collaborative storytelling for a very long time. Written for a long time and still today, and now also like again like a table oral, like that sort of stuff. So it's clearly something that I enjoy, and I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah, there's just like a certain part of collaborative storytelling that I just like it's like one part improv, two part like just natural progression of like story beats that really makes me smile, especially getting new players into tabletop RPGs. Like with Lacrimosa, which was Monster of the Week format, or like the system we used was Monster of the Week, which is really good for just like storytelling in general, because it's a lot less about numbers and a lot more just about like using the dice as like a, you know, this is what happened, what do you do next, like the okay, now what, all right, you did this, now what, and so on and so forth. And it's just like really, really cool what players will come up with, especially players who aren't familiar with the space and are less comfortable with voice acting. Like not just voice acting, but like acting in general, and seeing what they decide to do and put themselves into the skin of their characters for the first time. It's so cool. It is so addicting.
Yeah, you reminded me that I need to get back to watching Dungeons and Drag Queens, because that is exactly the vibe that they have, where it's just like they don't know what the rules are, so they just say, "I go and do this thing," and narrate the whole scene, and I go, "You know what? Yeah, you do.
You go, girl."
You know what? You get to just do that." I'm like, technically that's not how the game is played, but I don't care. They're having fun.
I am usually very, very willing to stretch the rules depending on the setting and like the stuff. Like there's a lot of, for example, with Pathfinder, especially second edition, there's a lot of like thought out preset rules and, you know, stuff like that to make everything flow correctly. But like if somebody tells me something that's like within the realm of possibilities, and I look at the rules or like the words and stuff, and I go, yeah, sure, that makes sense. You can use grab a ledge to grab onto this crab as you're falling past it and then punch the shit out of it. Like, yeah, sure. That's cool.
Yeah, I had a really dumb idea in one of our last home game sessions. We were fighting an earth elemental, and I went, I looked at the GM and I went, will you let me say that a crack on the earth elemental is a container so that I can create or destroy water, and then on my next, and then freeze it, and then on my next turn destroy it?
That's awesome.
And the answer was yes.
Let's go.
I'm like, it's technically not a container, but like,
Mhm.
listen, I'm not trying to do it in somebody's lungs, all right? Like,
It's such a balancing act as a DM because on one hand, like I want my players to come up with creative solutions to problems, but at the same time I don't want to set like weird precedents for certain things. That's like now every time they get into combat with something they're going to do this one thing that I let them do one time. It is the court of law at the table where if I say they can do something, then they are going to repeatedly try to do that thing at some point.
this is why Arla carries around so much random shit. Because Milk said yes once and then I went, okay, cool.
Okay. You said yes, then no
Yes.
no takesy backsies.
I took this disembodied hand and putting it in my pocket. Goodbye.
I think Milk strikes a really good a really good balance in that sense. That usually if you throw an idea by them of like something creative like that, they'll usually go, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Let's rock with it. Me giving them my funny skeleton idea of having an archer that takes their own ribs and uses them as arrows, and them going, this is awesome, this rocks, yeah, absolutely.
God. I kept sitting there going, you only, like in my head thinking, you only have so many ribs. The human body does not have an unlimited supply of ribs.
It's okay, they grow back, Smiles.
I mean, I was playing yep, that's who he was. I mean, I was playing a fake faith healer, so honestly, I don't really have room to compare because I literally turned someone into a crab.
Yeah, carcinization.
God, I still feel like that taking that attack of opportunity for being within melee range was worth it.
Absolutely. It sucked that the first time you tried to do it, they actually crit and interrupted it. But it's okay. You got him on the second try.
I just got to cycle back to me saying that she looked like a crab.
I think
that one's never coming out. You guys don't get to see that one.
No, unfortunately. Oh, fortunately and unfortunately. I think my favorite part about that one shot in particular, though, was like something that's not feasible to do in like normal campaigns and stuff, which was the like theme song thing that we had going on. It was so cool. So for chat, the rule was for casters, if you do a 5th level spell slot, and for martial characters, if you hit a critical hit, then Milk had a list of our theme songs for our characters and would start to play them like when we fulfilled those conditions. And God, it was so cool to get like the killing shot with a crit on the main dude in the fucking rock dimension, like rock is in music rock, and then hear my theme song start playing. The dopamine was insane. I was in a gambler's high.
You know, I'm over here being like, well, I did turn her into a crab, and now Virginity Rocks is playing.
Yeah. It's so funny.
God, I am never not going to pick a Star Kids song. I'm sorry. No seriousness here.
Oh, there was nothing serious about that whole session. Oh, it was so good. That was like some of the most fun that I've had in tabletop in a while. Outside of, you know, being emotionally damaged by other campaigns that I'm in. Smiles.
I don't know
um
what you're talking about.
who has been your favorite character that you've played in tabletop?
Like, I want to say Pat Robertson. I really do. Um, I do. I think. Oh, because the thing is, I love them all. Obviously,
Mm.
they are my children.
Mm.
But I think that, like, if I think about the more serious characters, it's probably a tie between Arla, who is, Pathfinder character,
Mm.
um, and then in the home game, my first character, who was my bard, she was a Asimar bard. If either of the players are here that leave, don't listen to me. You've never found that part out. You thought she was a half elf. Unfortunately, she died. So
Ooh.
yeah. So there's a level of just like story arc just interrupted that I'm just sitting with. That's like, oh,
Oh my god, my heart.
there was so much of this character I didn't get to do, and I'm okay with that. I told them to make whatever decision they wanted. I would
Mhm.
support them, but like it does suck that it ended up killing me. There was a chance it wouldn't have. It was a case of like go to heal me or deal with the enemy, and I was like, do whatever choice you choose. Like I'm not. I personally, as a player, am okay with my character dying if it happens.
Mhm.
You know.
I feel the
So
same way. There's only been like one character death that I can think of that made me upset, and it's just because of how the DM ran that particular fight was like an asshole. Like they had a vendetta, and it was really annoying. But other than that, I've had other character deaths, and like it it hurts, but like as a collaborative storytelling medium, it's very important.
yeah, I think it's the level of like it was fair.
Mm,
I knew the risk that I was putting myself in by telling them to do what they think their character would do or what they think is the best choice. But I knew that and I felt that it was fair that it had happened.
mm,
Versus like when you feel like it's just not fair, it's like, hey, well, I've been robbed of any catharsis. Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I I definitely um I definitely have lay on hands on I feel like it's been like this for a lot of my Pathfinder characters right now, but every single one of my Pathfinder characters that I play right now has some kind of healing ability. Whether it's my ranger has battle medicine, my witch is like a support witch, and so she has like a couple different ways to heal, and then Saki has lay on hands, and it's because of that feeling of like, I I think if any of these characters died, I would probably be crying for a couple days.
God, yeah. There was a moment that I had a small panic attack because I got a DM from Milk and she'd said something along the lines of like, if this was a TV show, this is where Arla would die. And I went, huh? It's fine. um, no, I mean, I brought in a Twilight cleric immediately after, so I'm
Mm.
now the healer for that party. So we had we like my brother plays a paladin, but like not really a healing focused paladin, more of
uh.
a hit things based paladin. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm building a character for survival at this point.
Never forget Dungeon Crawl Classics. Oh my god, that fucking system. Um, earlier ran us through a little adventure pack for Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is supposed to emulate like AD&D, like really early D&D stuff. And by saying that, it's mean. It's really mean. To the point where for clerics, that was what I was playing. When you fail a spell um, the range of your critical fail increases. So at first it's just, a nat 1. And then you fail casting a spell, and then it goes up to nat 2. And then so on and so forth, and it grows and grows. And there are ways you can lower it through like resting and stuff like that. It resets. But when you critical fail, things get really, really bad. And I had a habit, it was like almost, God, it sure felt like almost every time I cast a spell. My that critical fail range never got farther than like a nat 3, but I just kept hitting it. And it was at one point that after you hit the critical fail, you roll on a table to see what's going to happen to you. And it was like the third time I had hit it, and I lost my abilities as a cleric completely. So I was just a character. Like, I didn't have a class for for a while after that.
Oh my god.
My god hated me.
Disowned.
It got to the point where early, every time it happened was like coming up with ways as the GM of like reasons why my god might feel the way about the actions that I did. And it was like the third or fourth time that it happened. Early was like, I don't fucking know. She just hates you. It's like you don't even have any excuses for why it happened.
I've done exactly one sort of old school type dungeon crawl. It was at an event that I was technically a TO for, but one of the merchants, one of the vendors there, they do like wood, laser cut wood things for like dice towers and like minis and stuff like that. And they were doing a thing where if you ran a dungeon with them, you would get to keep one of the little minis. And my boy Bob did not survive, but I do still have him. I was literally checking to see if I could find where he was because I forgot where he was, but I can see him. Oh, but it was hard. We were all playing 3 characters because we knew the 2 of them will likely die, and maybe even the third one. So.
Yeah, we were lucky to get off with only losing 1 character during that little campaign. It was almost more than that. There was a couple of us that it was crazy. Nuck's character lived through the most unlikely series of events on like 1 health. Just like it was like a 1 in 5 chance, a 1 in 4 chance, and then a 1 in 3 chance when they triggered a trap and the whole room started collapsing. And somehow made it out alive, and we were all just sitting there in shock.
I am also in shock.
Oh god. What are some tabletop pet peeves that you have? Back to tea.
I've had pretty decent groups, so I'm trying to like think of a little bit further beyond my experience. I will say, my first DM did something that always bothered me, which was if there was a puzzle and we weren't getting it, we just weren't going to solve it. It just wasn't going to get solved by us.
No hints, no.
No, we would be like looking around for things, and he'd be like, "All right, roll for it," and he'd be like, "Yeah, you don't see anything," and I'm like,
That's really frustrating.
You put this in front of us and then did not let us solve it. Like, it wasn't all the time, but there were moments where I was like, I was sitting there thinking to myself, for the love of God, please just drive away for us to get past this.
Yeah. My biggest thing with puzzles in tabletop games is you have to make them in a way that they are solvable from like the first amount of information that you give. And then anything that players would like roll on top of that is for extra hints and stuff like that. Um, it's incredibly frustrating to see a puzzle like that and then like have to roll for basic information about the puzzle.
We were doing a side quest. We had picked up something from a job board.
Oh my
We were
god.
just in some woman's basement. And we were trying to figure out why her closet was haunted, and we couldn't. And we were like, I think it took a solid hour, and we went, "Are we just gonna give up?" Yeah, I mean, in terms of personal experience, that's the only pet peeve I really have. There's a lot of other things where it's like, obviously, anybody who's got like main character syndrome, that can be frustrating. But, like, I don't know, a lot of it is very removed for me personally, because I've
Yeah.
mostly been pretty fortunate. The only other thing I think I've ever really found frustrating, and I will say that I have been guilty of this in the past, but I have gotten much better. And also, in hindsight, some of it was literally just me needing like two things to focus on, because my brain needs extra things to focus on. In order to stay focused on one thing, sometimes it has to be doing something else in the background.
I feel that.
And it's just the not paying attention when, especially in combat, where it's like, please,
please,
I am formulating my next move as soon as I've finished my first one, please.
And there's always moments where like another player will do something, or like an enemy will do something that will like throw a wrench in the plan, and like make you have to rethink. But at least like the thing that gets me, and it happens sometimes in scales, and it doesn't help that it's like an every other week campaign and not everybody plays like a ton of tabletop or whatnot, but it's like forgetting like how basic parts of your character work. It's like, we are on session 27 now. Please read through what your stuff does. I'm begging you. I know it's a lot of words.
28. That was me going through the notes. It'll be 29 next week.
It's hard for me to blame thaumaturges in particular, people who are playing a thaumaturge in Pathfinder 2e, because every time exploit vulnerability comes up, it's just a flashbang of text. It's so much. I'm so glad we have it automated now in Foundry, because that thing is tough to read.
I only made the mistake about not being able to use my implement twice. And it was new. I had just gotten it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's easy. I go up, I exploit vulnerability, I hit things. It's actually a really easy class.
But yeah. I also end up needing something like to do. Like what I will do during my sessions is, Blue Sky has actually made it really easy for me, is I will pick a specific like art tag or something. Like last time I was looking at a bunch of like evolution pics for last session, that it was like Jolteons and Glaceons in raincoats and stuff like that, like slice of life Pokemon stuff, and was scrolling that to keep my brain busy while also paying attention to the session, because if I do not have like something focused while I am not the one talking or doing something, I will start disassociating, and I don't want to do that, because then I miss everything.
The unfortunate truth is that your power just was not playing with you last session.
Oh yeah, last session I was fucked. I lost power for like 3 days.
Jesus.
Yeah. It was bomb cyclones are crazy smiles.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate circumstance. That one, the blame isn't on me or whatever, but like, yeah,
Absolutely
generally
not. It's on God.
Yeah. Simply an act of God. What were we to do? But yeah, generally I try to pay pretty good attention during sessions. I had a I think one of my biggest ones, and it's mainly just because there have been a few DMs that have left a particularly sour taste in my mouth, and early brought it up, is DMPCs sometimes really, really, really kill me. I'm glad. I think it can be done decently where like if the DM makes like an NPC feel more like an RPG like party member or something like that, just like secondary party member that you end up picking up for a little bit, I think that feels fine. But like if it's like them actively trying to play and like take an important role in the story with the players, it is so incredibly frustrating. I actually got a little bit I felt like I got a little too heated when we got a reward and tipped the scales, and it was like a list of, you know, stuff that we got from something that we
I
did.
remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, as long as none of these magic items go to the NPC, I'm totally fine. Which I like. I like them quite a bit. I have grown quite fond of them as a character.
Early on, and unfortunately nobody's gonna get to see this because it was back before Marla. I literally forgot they were there all the time.
I still do sometimes currently, but I'd rather have it be that way than them taking up like a ton of airtime and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, Milk literally was like, "No, please don't give anything to them. Like, these are for you. Please don't."
Yeah.
So.
They're cool. They heal the party. They're like a healer and support. They make the barbarian very big, and they keep our HP pools higher than they probably should be. Especially with some of the decisions we make.
God.
My DMPC is a level 20 monk that exclusively exists for my power fantasy. So true. No joke, that is how one of the DMs that I was in their party was like, and I did not last long in that party. I was like, I'm not doing this. This sucks. I am not here for your power fantasy. I'm here for my power fantasy.
Yeah, like I do understand the desire to like be part of the like to feel more involved in sort of the direction of the story, but if I'm being honest, if you're trying to tell an NPC story, write a book.
Yeah, true.
Just write a book.
I love giving little snippets of like NPC history and like stuff like that, or like characterization, and then leaving them there. And if the players want to interact more with that NPC or want to like bring them around or something like that, that's totally up to the players. But I'm not going to insert my OC into their campaign.
yeah. That's the difference. There's a difference between like, okay, this character has a backstory and like there's potential of where things could go, but like just being like, no, my character is also here to make decisions and influence a lot of things, and it's like, well, like I'm not saying you can't play, but like that is kind of the role of the players.
It's like I think about morticians right now because one of the two parties has an NPC going around with them right now that was just sort of happenstance, and I try really hard to make it so they are not like taking center stage or stuff like that. That if like there are interactions with them, it is because the parties want to do that sort of stuff with them.
Oh yeah, if the party adopts an NPC.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I get an excuse to kill them off in a dramatic way later. Smiles. Anywho's, let's move on to the last couple of things that I have before we take our quick break, and then we get into viewer questions. Do you have any projects that you really want to do but feel out of scope?
So this is literally just sort of a hardware limitation currently. It's
Mm-hmm.
I really want to do crafting type content.
Uh-huh.
I think they just don't have a good camera for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like cosplay stuff, just even like prop work. Like I would love to stream doing some cosplay work on certain things, but
Mm.
also just like I would love to do like I currently have the idea of doing like a longer form video of like I have an old cosplay of mine that doesn't really fit anymore, so I would love to like redo it, remake it, and like just make that a
Oh.
whole video project. But like I don't like I can the camera I have is fine. Just like the video quality is fine. It's not amazing. It's not like DSLR quality, but it's
Uh-huh.
fine. The biggest problem is that I don't have a place to put it that I can film. And part of that might be because I accidentally broke the little tripod inside of it already. So,
Ooh.
but it was also like not really like it wasn't necessarily of a size or shape that I could necessarily do a lot of that sort of camera work anyway.
Uh-huh.
Like I still had to stack it on top of books on my desk to make it high enough so that you didn't just get the torso and nothing else. So there's that where it's like this is a hardware limitation where it's like that's something I can work on and like get to and like I have some of the stuff to start working on that project already.
Mm-hmm.
Um God, I have done one or two like sort of um like I've written a few scripts
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, man, I would love to like find a way to do this. But like I just so much time needs to go into things like I need to find more cast members, try to like organizing just people and like
Mm-hmm.
finding a way to like make it work with what I have. There's just a lot. And I like don't know where to start with a lot of it where it's like, all right, how do I find cast members? I know some people I could reach out to, but like, man, it's not might not be enough, that sort of thing.
Mm.
Or they might not fit the role. And also just like there's been a few one of the ones that I was thinking of and sorry, hold on. All right,
You're
I drinking pop, not necessarily great for talking.
good.
Um there was one that I was wanting to do that was going to require a lot of very like specific timing because it was going to start live
Yeah.
and then go into the pre-recorded stuff and I like the idea of trying to get that timing and figure out how to get that down was like so painful. I was like, no, it's gonna be really cool. And some part of me was super excited, but then the moment I had to think about the logistics of it, I was like, ugh, ugh. There's a reason I am not a stage manager. There's a reason I'm on the stage and not behind the curtain. You just tell me what to do and I do it.
Yeah, I get that. Oh, goodness gracious. I know there's been a couple things that you've reached out to me about, but then just fell through for one reason or another, just due to time, due to getting people, due to the brain
Mostly,
happening.
yeah, I was gonna say mostly that's on the ADHD, but
Yeah, brain stuff definitely happens. I mean, I know there was like a collab album that I was trying to get together that I reached out to you and a couple other people about, and then my brain did the same sort of thing where it was like, nope, we're not doing this anymore, actually. And I was like, but I really want to, and it's like, nope, not doing this anymore. Different thing.
you if you do this, I will scream at you.
Yep. If you try to do work on this at all, I will shut you down for the rest of the day. It's like, okay, I guess I'll do something else.
Yep.
Nuh-uh. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Is there anything you have in store for this next year that you really want to try and like push yourself to do?
I'll be honest, this upcoming year, for the time being, I am not pushing myself at all. I am making the point of taking things slow and being like, all
Mm.
right, listen, we're still not doing amazing,
Mm-hmm.
being honest. We're still working on things. There's a lot of processes that I still have to go through to like work through a lot of the things that my brain unfortunately has shunted me into.
Mm.
Um, so I am taking things as easy as I can. Who knows? Maybe the next medication I try, I will be a fully functional adult.
We can
In
always
which case,
hope.
we can talk. But until then, currently the plan is take things slow. If I feel like I can manage doing more, then we'll think about it and talk about it, and like we'll like work through that. But
Mm.
until then, just do what you can. Try
That's
as best
a
as possible to be consistent, and then like that's what I'm doing.
yeah. That is a very good, very healthy mentality to have. And it's good that you're sort of aware of that. You know, that's part of the step is forcing yourself to take it nice and slow because I mean you were talking about earlier about like before you took your break of just like having that sort of racing mentality of like, ooh, got to do the next thing, got to do the next thing, got to do a bigger thing, and leading yourself into burnout.
Yeah, neurodivergent skill regression and burnout is a hell of a 1-2 punch. Let
Yeah.
me tell you. What do you mean all my coping mechanisms don't work? Oh, and I'm burnt out? Got it.
Uh-oh, oopsies.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Well, on that note, we are going to take a quick break. Bathroom, water, whatever you need. Make sure to hydrate because it sounds like your pop is not helping your voice.
and I've finished it and I've reached over and I've already got my water bottle, so.
Huge, 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 huge. So we will be right back with you, Chet. We'll take about 10 minutes here to stand up, stretch, do our thing, and be right back with you. So yeah. See you then, Chad Brown. Howdy doody, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello.
I hope y'all are ready to get into these here viewer questions. Why do you look so scared? What's up? What's wrong?
It's fine. It's fine.
We had quite a few. I picked out, I think, somewhere around the ballpark of like 11, 12 questions. I think 11 question mark. So without further ado, we'll start with the first one, which is from Kyrie. What is your strategy to stay warm in the winter?
Stay warm?
Yeah.
Uh, I'll let you know when I figure it out. If I have to leave, I put on a big winter jacket and a good pair of winter boots that have like an insulating layer on the inside because they are not vinyl on the outside and it's snowing as heck. A hat and a scarf and gloves, and like I go full winter gear if I have to leave. But when I'm at home, there is no keeping warm. Like I go to bed, I lie down, and I'm like, God, my feet are so cold, and then I wake up and they're still cold.
All bundled.
Like we have like the duvet out and everything. Like
Oh my god. To be fair, it does get pretty damn cold up there.
it does, but like you would think that it would be like it wouldn't be quite so. I mean, I understand why it's in specific regions, but it's like God, my nose is always cold, my fingers are always cold, my feet are always cold. Rest of me, perfectly fine. You lose the most heat through your head. My head feels fine.
Yeah, I'm convinced we lose the most heat through our feet and through our hands, because that's where I get cold first.
It's always the extremities, and that is why you have to cover them up if it's gonna get cold.
I always run into that problem when I'm like doing even just doing like office work, like from home and stuff. It's like my fingers get cold and I have to work a keyboard, and like the stiffness comes in and the repetitive stress injuries start, and I'm like, oh, make it stop, please.
It's worse when it's cold because it just like for some reason makes everything creak like five
Yeah.
times more. Oh God, and also just I've woken up every day the last 2 weeks and been like, my hands are dry.
Yeah.
I put lotion on them earlier, like when I went to bed last night.
Oh my god, my eyes get really dry. Not like my eyes, but like my eye. Trying to think. It's like the tear duct sort of area, like the inside of my eye, gets like dry and it gets itchy this time of year, and it makes me so angry because there's so little ways that I do eye drops, I do other stuff, and I just can't make it stop. Please, I don't want itchy eye.
Yeah, chapped lips are another one. I mean, I'm used to the
Oh.
chapped lips at this point, but I there's a sensory thing for me with my hands are dry. It's like the
Mhm.
worst. I can't like I can handle it when my lips are chapped. It sucks, but I
Yeah.
can handle it. I cannot handle my hands being dry. I cannot do it. I used to be fine, and then I
Uh-huh.
worked at a butcher shop, and they have
Oh.
the tape that like it has glue on it that's activated by water.
Uh.
So the tape dispenser would have like a water thing in it, and then like a sponge that would pull the water up, but
Mhm.
it pulls the moisture out of everything it touches. And since I stopped working there, my hands cannot be dry because something about the fact that that thing would suck all the moisture out of my skin was just like too much.
Yeah, I that sounds about right.
It was a
Oh.
perfectly good job, just completely ruined my brain.
So your usual is to simply bundle up as best you can and pray.
Yeah, for the most part. I'm literally wearing like fuzzy socks right now, and my feet are still cold.
Oh man.
I can feel it.
See, this is the benefit to me not being able to sit correctly is half the time my feet are under me, so they at least stay kind of warm.
I can't like kneel or like sit like that for super long periods of time.
That makes sense.
I do it like all the time where I swap into it, but then like um because of diabetes related issues, blood pressure problems mean
Uh,
that I can't really sit on my legs for too long.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
This next question is from Consular Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
Now that the consular has returned, will we see the rise of other friends as oncelers?
I think I think you failed to understand how onslers work. They're all the same person, just different universe versions of the same person. So no, the answer is no. All consulars are the same person. There are no other versions.
Nah, no Missler.
I mean, listen, if you want to invent the Mistler, that's fine, but it's worth noting that in the consular universe, in the consular fandom, we functioned the way the old school Onceler fandom did, which is to say they're all the same character. And it's like a little bit weird that you do ship them together.
So true. I love looking at AU stuff. AU ships break my fucking mind. Explosion in your home. Not yours, but you know, the particular people who do.
I continue to just be flabbergasted by the fact that people were so in love with the character, but they had no one to ship him with, that they had to just make different versions of him. Like, you don't actually have to ship him with anyone.
It's true.
You can just like the character.
They need to see him be in a not even a happy relationship, in a toxic relationship. They need
So
that.
many of them were toxic too, yeah. Teenagers on Tumblr. I went through a war. I was in the
So
trenches.
real. So real. Oh man. Anytime I think of AU stuff, I just remember how deep I was into like Undertale AU culture and that sort of stuff. Never take me back.
See, this is where I feel the age difference, because I was too old for it at that point. I liked Undertale. It was a good game. I was too old to be doing the weird Sans daddy shit. Like, I had to think about going to university. Like,
see, I was just before it because it was like, it was like tail end of high school / start of university when I got into that stuff. Because before I was I was pretty much off of Tumblr, and I didn't really get into a lot of the like other communities with it. Like I was in Warrior Cats communities. I think. Oh God. Um. Yeah, the first like RP stuff that I ever got into was Warrior Cats Roblox RP. when I was little, when I was really little.
Bless. I'm so glad that even though the medium changed, Warriors, it was the first roleplay introduction for so many children.
Yeah.
It used to be on forums. Now then it was in Roblox. Now it's probably in some version of Fortnite. Probably a custom Fortnite game for it.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about people doing Fortnite RP, dude. Holy shit. Oh yeah, VR chat is also like real big on that. I know a bunch of people do like VR CRP, but dude, Fortnite RP server probably goes kind of crazy. Oh, also Minecraft RP. People do a lot of RP in that now, I'm pretty sure. Putting it into that perspective, like, is insane for me. Because I also participated in like some form stuff back then, but it was like that's where I found out about RP outside of like tabletop stuff. Because I used to do like Star Wars tabletop RP with my cousin since I was like 4.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. They were super into it because I was the youngest cousin. I was the baby. My mom has 5 sisters that at the time, not quite as much anymore. She still loves them. I don't. We're very close to her. And so of course all of the children were also pretty close. And I was the baby because my mom was also the baby. And um so I always got dragged into all of the antics that the older kids were into. And between like actual Dungeons and Dragons, like I did a lot of 3.5 because that's what they were into at the time, and then like old Star Wars tabletop stuff. That was my first like exposures to doing like role playing games. And then I discovered I was super into Warrior Cats, and then happened to discover that on Roblox one day, and I was like, oh fuck, dude, it's over. Because I was in like the really early years of Roblox too, the first couple years of it even existing.
God, I'm so glad Roblox carried on the torch that Feral Heart could not.
Me too.
Because that was my like in-game roleplay thing. Of course it was. I was a wolf girl growing up.
This is huge news.
I don't feel like it's a surprise though.
Well, you know, a bat is like a flying fox. I thought maybe you were like a fox girl.
No, there wasn't as many Fox roleplays. Like, it really feels like there was a pipeline where it was like, if you were a Warrior Cats kid, there's a chance you became a wolf girl, a chance you became a horse girl,
Oh god, the
or
horse
some
girls.
other third mysterious thing that like I can't even begin to explain.
The third mysterious option. Oh, oh god, Toho stuff. I loved Toho stuff. I mean, I still love Toho stuff. That's like always been an obsession for me, but I never really got into like Toho RP though. I'd thankfully I had a really hard time when it was like actually getting into the skin of already made characters. It was always like an OC thing for me.
So what you're saying is I'm not going to find out that you secretly have like years of backlogs of like fan fiction.
No, no.
Eh.
I did do writing. Actually, there was several attempts. I think they still exist in my Google Drive and they will never see the light of day again. But of me trying to write like an actual like Terraria story. Yeah, those, not even for a subathon goal, those will not see the light of day. I mean, Chad has already experienced the dating sim as well.
What an experience it was.
Oh man.
I don't even know if I can find that voice again. I don't know where she came from.
General Shale. The fogging over the grass on the grasslands. Yeah. Third line. God. I'm so glad I was able to share that with you guys. That is the one piece of embarrassing freshman year past you will get out of me. Figuring out, speaking of nested switch statements, figuring out that like pretty much all the dialogue in Undertale is written like that was made me feel so good about myself. I was like, man, I'm glad it wasn't just me. Also figuring out that all of the card effects, like all the Joker effects in Balatro are in one giant line of if statements. just one huge page, like 400 line page of if statements.
Oh my god.
It has to check through all of those every card, dude. That's crazy.
Like, listen, I know some very basic HTML, and that's about it. I am like pretty sure that I know that that is not considered optional.
No. Game of the year, baby. Let's go.
If I've learned anything about game dev, it's that it's always held together by like duct tape in a dream.
It's true.
And that goes double for indie devs.
It's true. The dream is what's important. God. Let's move on to the next question. This one is from Shub. It's a very important question, and I need to know your answer. Would you consider Donkey Kong your Oshi? Also, the trees are speaking Vietnamese. Help.
I got the second part. I am so confused by the Donkey Kong part. I'm like, is there context I'm forgetting? Like,
I don't know. This one's for you.
like I understand the trees because the Lorax speaks for the trees and the once learned. We've been over that.
Do you think Donkey Kong could be your Oshi?
Like, he does kind of have the vibe that I sort of look for when I'm thinking about like VTubers that I really like. Which is to say that I just don't know what's going to come out of his mouth next. Like, maybe? That's my best answer.
A solid maybe out of 10.
Not the one voiced by oh, his name is gone from my brain. I remember his last name. It's not Seth Green though. Seth Rogen. That's not even his last name.
Thank God.
I wasn't looking at chat. I came up with that one by myself.
You beat them. You beat them to it.
Okay.
God, not Seth Rogen, Donkey Kong, also just known as Seth Rogen. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, moving on from that. This one is from anonymous FGC Girlfail. What kind of media do you consume as a guilty pleasure?
The thing is that I'm cringe but free, so I have to really think about this.
That's how I feel.
It's like, sometimes I read fan fiction, but like, honestly, it's not that big, like, I don't read a lot of it, so... I don't know. I do consider this somewhat guilty pleasure, not because, like, I think it's bad, but because some part of me is like, just, like... There's so many better things you could be doing with your time. I do watch some of those like D&D horror story videos, and sometimes it'll just be the thing that I put on for an entire day. And I'm like, I could be doing so many other things with my time. Listen, Crispy's Tavern is great. I don't have any problems with him or his content, but like, I don't feel like it, and I'm not somebody who thinks that everything needs to be productive, but this feels like one of those ones where it's like, it's negative productive.
Yeah, like this is actively destroying me.
Yeah.
Ooh, I feel about that. I mean, we talked about it earlier about listening to the poached content and being like, I shouldn't be doing this, and then you watch like 3 videos and it's like, oh fuck, I need to turn off TikTok or whatever other platform.
Like, I will say at least Crispy's Tavern does, like, skits that he comes up with on his own, so there is his own original content in there. So it's like, it doesn't feel quite as bad.
That's good at the very least.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing that I sit down and I go, I don't feel like I should be watching this. But it's on now, too. I can't stop it.
Um, the next one is from Early. If you were given the chance to guilt-free and legally eat any animal ever, what animal would it be? Any special way you'd want it prepared?
This is a hard question for me because there's too many answers. I've talked about I may have mentioned this once or twice before, but there are a lot of animals that it's like it's not legal for you to eat that. Like it's very hard for you to get it ethically sourced, so like
Uh,
legally it's a problem. But like I'll be honest, there isn't a type of meat I wouldn't try.
mm,
Meat specifically, I should specify, because there's a lot of other things that I would not eat. But like I would try almost every type of meat, and this includes insects. They just can't look like them.
uh,
If it looks like an insect, it's not going in my mouth. If it doesn't, if you could tell me that it's ground up, like caterpillars, I'd be like, cool, and then I would chug it back.
uh.
So like I like some part of me wants to say horse because that's the one that like is a big deal where I'm from. There's been a lot of like horse meat problems.
Oh.
Like, so I want to say horse, but like the true answer is that if you could promise to me that it was legal and ethically sourced and
Mhm.
like wasn't going to kill me to eat, because I guess there are technically some like fish where it's like maybe
Yeah.
don't. I would probably eat it. Like it's too broad of an answer.
Horse is interesting. I've actually had horse before. It's tough.
Oh, I
That's
don't
for
imagine
sure.
don't imagine I would like most of them, but
Uh,
I'm willing to try most of them,
I feel the
which is
same way.
not something I could say for a lot of other food types. Like the moment you put sauce on that meat, there is a chance that that's a no for me. So
But just raw, if you I guess not raw, but like just just cooked, like a penguin steak.
yeah, it put a little bit of like basic ass seasoning salt on it.
give me
We're good.
give me some breaded puffin and we'll talk.
Oh yeah, bread it and I'll eat. Yeah, immediately.
Is there any particular animal that like sticks out at you? Is like, oh god, I would eat that.
This is weird. Alligator.
Oh.
Mostly because I've heard it's actually kind of good.
That's killer. That's good.
There are no alligators where I live, so
Hell yeah. That it's so funny because I feel like Early asks this question to like almost every guest that we've had on. And so many of them are like fish for an answer, like try to find at least one. So to hear that you're like, oh yeah, like I'd as long as you can tell me that it's like ethical or whatever and legal, I'd try that shit. It's really good.
I should just double check. Do we consider things like balut meat? Because it's also egg.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's
Then
like
not
from the
balut.
animal.
That's the one I'm not gonna eat because texture wise, I would not be able to handle it.
Ah, that makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
like in terms of like what it is, it doesn't actually bother me that much. But I just know that like I would. It's a raw. There's raw egg. It's too slimy. Cannot.
Hmm. That makes sense. This next question is from Anon. What are your favorite guys in media? What are a couple of your favorite silly little guys?
Oh God, are we naming names or do you want me to just tell you what my type is?
Either or.
Because like if we're talking in media, when it comes to male characters, they just kind of gotta be dumb.
Mm.
They just gotta be a little bit stupid, but like very earnest. I want if
Uh.
they're stupid but earnest, it's like that's my guy, right there. That's my favorite guy.
Oh my god. I'm right there with you, sister. I love them. I love them endearing and dumb and usually muscular. I like me himbos.
They don't need to be muscular for me because I'm also thinking things like Tamaki from Oron, like slots into that thing where
Ah.
it's like he's earnest, but God, he's such a dumbass. You know?
Yeah, I like them
Um,
dumb.
Girls, yes.
Ding 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 ding.
Like I'm not gonna say that every female character is like my favorite character, but I am
Mm.
significantly less discerning when it comes to female characters. I guess if they're a war criminal, usually that makes them pretty up there for me. Like I am an Edelgard girl. I am sorry.
Like you are an Edelgard girl?
Yeah, I sure am. Not like personally, but like, listen, that's my wife. Uh,
You know what? Respect, and I hope that the haters never get to you.
I've learned to just not listen to them.
Simply block them out.
If only because 9 times out of 10, they immediately tell me they've never played the Red Eagles house anyways. So I'm like,
Oh,
all right, well,
that's crazy.
like we can't really have a constructive conversation then.
Yeah. Like
I've only
talk to me after you play through their story.
no, they only ever romance Dimitri. So
Oh, that makes sense.
no. Sorry, let me rephrase. The women can be war criminals. Men war criminals can die.
Oh man.
JD can go in fact burn in a bomb fire.
Big respect. That's true. That's real.
It's real.
Fuck
Spoilers, I
fuck
guess.
that guy. No. You know what? That's one of my favorite musicals. Chat should just know at this point. I've played the soundtrack. I've also had Hannah play the whole soundtrack on a like on a stream before.
I'm trying to think of like a specific character that doesn't like fall into like what I've sort of described because there's a few where it's like for whatever reason that's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like I want to say like Ring a Bell from Bravely Default because normally I really don't like the like chauvinist who like kind of hits on every girl he sees. Like I'm not a fan of Brock. He sucks.
True.
But there's something about Ring a Bell that leans him just ever so slightly into tiny dumb guy that like he skirts by.
How do
And
you
he's my favorite character in that game.
how do you feel about Sylvain Three Houses?
God, just double. I'm trying to not Yuri, the other one. I've not played enough of his house to have an opinion.
Oh, that's fair.
Like I don't off of like having the brief amount of time I've met him, I'm like I don't like him, but like I recognize that he's probably got more things going on that I don't see. So
Yeah. I've just heard that opinion of like that same, normally they don't like chauvinistic characters, but they like Sylvain. So I was simply curious.
Ah, I've noticed that the answer is that I don't have any that aren't at least somewhat a little bit of a dumbass. Because I was gonna say my other favorite character from media that I don't think 100% meets this is Grunkle Stan, but he is a so.
Oh my god. Grunkle Stunkle at the buckle.
Listen, Gravity Falls changed my brain chemistry.
I totally understand. Grunkle Stan, yeah, Grunkle Stan is a bit of a dumbass. He still fits in like a grumpy old man kind of way.
Yeah, it's just that he's also like the miserly like older man, and I don't like that character archetype usually. Like a Mr. Krabs, he sucks.
I would hope you don't have a thing for Mr. Krabs.
No, I don't even like him as a character. I respect what this character is about. I hate him.
Oh my gosh.
this is not me like talking about it in like terms of like a romantic or any sort of feelings for it thing. Like Uncle Stan is a good character. I like that man.
Yeah.
I don't have any sort of other feelings about him beyond that though.
That's very fair. Oh, I think a lot about like pretty much every character in Gravity Falls. I think a lot about that show. I actually rewatched all of it in possibly one of the silliest ways possible recently, where it was all through like TikTok part 1 of 4 of X episode, and I watched through the entirety of it in order through those.
I can't decide if that's better or worse than the fact that I was trying to watch it while it was airing, which meant that I would watch one new episode and then 3 months later I would get another new episode.
Oh, that's crazy.
Also, yes, James Pokemon 100% falls into dumb little man category.
Oh, James Pokemon, my beloved. I love Jesse and James so much.
Oh, my friend were originally going to do a Jesse and James cosplay like years and years and years ago, and I still have I still have like the wig, and I'm like, one of these days, I'm coming for you, James.
Vira Kane.
That is a woman, yeah.
That is. Name a woman. Name a woman. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm fighting the demons right now. Hell yeah. This is a wonderful look, and I'm glad that we have a lot of the same tastes, because I feel the same sort of way about liking a specific kind of man, and then being very, very not that picky about my women.
Like, if she's well written, the chance that I'm gonna like her is pretty high.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, that bar is quite high, but
Mm-hmm.
So no, not Joey Yu-Gi-Oh! Not Joey Yu-Gi-Oh! See, my favorite character from Yu-Gi-Oh! is Yami Bakura, because I was a tween who was definitely crushing on him at the time.
That's awesome. But respect, big respect. Next question. Same bat time, wrong bat place asks, who is a recent character you think deserves to be a Tumblr sexy man?
See, the problem is that if they fit the category, they kind of already are. It's like an automatic process at this point.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm trying to think of, because like I'm trying to think of like a recent-ish character that doesn't quite fit the mold that I think should be considered. But I'm struggling because I'm like, well, Gortash is definitely a Tumblr sexy man already. Asterion definitely is.
Yeah.
Helson is not Tumblr sexy man material. Other new games that I've played, can I think of any? No. Oh God. Dad Peter from Beyond the Spider-Verse. No, he's definitely already a Tumblr sexy man.
Yeah, the Tumblr sexy man community works pretty fast in putting them up there.
I can't say Victor Arcane because he already is.
Yeah.
Victor Arcane in particular already is.
Yeah. Victor Arcane kind of has been for...
since season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I unfortunately know this because I have had to read so many, like, I'm so sad that I can't walk fics, and I'm like, stop.
Man.
Like, he's fine. Leave him. Stop it. Oh god, Date from AI Files. No, he sucks. And not in the way that some Tumblr sexy men suck. Where it's like, okay, but like that man did a bad thing. It's like, no, Date just kind of sucks to be around. Like, I love him, but he sucks. I'm going to no, hold on. What's his name? No, just think about his name. Because I'm just looking him up because I don't remember. Uh, Pewter from AI Somnium Files, which is not a new game because he was in the first one.
Mm.
He is almost certainly not a Tumblr sexy man, even though he fits the body standard for it.
Uh.
Because he just is weird. But he deserves to be one because he fits the body standard for it, and also he's gay, and you know that that is a bonus.
So true. I think it's so funny because I have yet to actually like play Anti-Somnium Files, so I've only experienced it secondhand through friends, and I if I do eventually play it, I don't know what to expect from Date.
That's fine. He will never meet your expectations anyway. You'll be like, surely he's not gonna do this thing, and then he'll go up and do something worse, and you're like, why? You're a cop. Stop it.
Oh man, not a cop.
Listen, he is what I call the only good cop, which is to say that he sucks and is bad at his job.
Oh,
But not
I
in a way that
see.
hurts people, just in a way that makes him look like an asshole.
I see. Our next question is from Mid Librarian. As a longtime Miscellia fan, parentheses first time viewer, uh, I know little of your streams. How would you describe your chat? As in, how are they usually like when you're streaming?
There is a lot of crossover in our audience.
It's true.
There is a lot of crossover. That being said, I am less permissive with certain things, mostly just because I am like I don't have a problem with them as topics. It's just like I don't really like to lean too much into NSFW stuff.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying you lean into it like a lot. It's just
Mm.
my boundary is a little bit more strict in terms
Yeah.
of like where it is there. But beyond that, like the crossover is a lot.
It's how I see a lot of ConCon streams and like ConCon chat is it is more say so in the sense that it is like less there's less chance of the NSFW stuff and that sort of stuff, but it's a lot of the same bullshittery.
Like there's some part of me that thinks that because the boundary is there is just more out of pocket shit.
Yeah, different out of pocket stuff.
It's different out of pocket shit.
Different flavors,
guys,
similar vibes.
Sometimes I'm like, what?
What the fuck did you just say to me? You know, people get more creative when there's tighter boundaries. I gotta think outside of the box.
It's true. It's they're so creative. Everyone's being so creative.
I'm glad you're creative, chat. No?
Beyond that, like outside of the crossover, I do have a few other viewers that are more regular. That's like, it's very casual. It feels like when with them, where it's sort of just like I'll say something, and then we'll just have a full conversation back and forth. That's, I mean, obviously that happens regardless, but like we'll just be talking about like, oh yeah, I had a job where I went to go do something, and we'll just like it's very neurodivergent info dumping back and forth at each other.
This is wonderful. This is good. Next question is from John with 3 exclamation points. What's your dream pet?
This is rough because it's like, all right, like the version of me that knows that like this is like immoral is like I want a cheetah.
Big cat.
But the part of me that knows that that's immoral is like, let's just like I just want a regular cat. Because I don't currently have one. And I grew up with cats, so it's like a little bit sad. But we currently are not in a position to be able to take care of a cat, so we don't have one right now. Although I will say it is like a thing that both of us want to have eventually in the future. But I would like a big cat if I like if morality had nothing to do with it, 100% a big cat. And also like if I knew that it wasn't going to kill me. Because that's the other thing, is that they usually end up killing someone.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a lion or a tiger or a cheetah. Literally any of the big cats, they're all good.
I follow a couple like animal shelter profiles on like TikTok, and seeing them go and spend time with their big cats, like the tigers or the lions, I'm just like, oh babies. I love their big paws. Or there's a couple families that are like kind of local actually, that are like nursing bobcats. um and I love bobcats so much. I love their big stupid paws. I love how fluffy they are. And it's just, if I could have one, I'm right there with you. If I could have a big cat. So I really want to get a Maine Coon when I get the chance and move out and have my own place. um and I want to get a big orange Maine Coon, and I want to name him Soul, so I can have my little baby, my little runt Luna that I have now. I love her to death, and then I can have my big kitty Soul.
So I want to be. I understood that this was not going to happen, but for a split second there, I was like baggage.
Baggage, yeah, like exactly like baggage. That's what I'm looking for.
I was like, you're going to name him baggage. um. Oh, Maine Coons are so good. We would have to get a. We would not be able to have a long-haired cat because my partner is allergic. So we
Uh,
would want to like make as possible, like as much as possible, have as little allergen as we can. And unfortunately, because of long-haired cats and how much grooming they need, you're
mm,
just releasing it directly into the air. You know, like
yeah, yeah, that very
um.
very much makes sense.
Oh God, bobcats though. I just thought about their little nub tails.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Bobcats and lynx are actually pretty common where I live. In
Mm,
terms of like, you can just walk up on them almost downtown.
yeah.
Like literally, my partner did on his way back from work one day. I was like, we're like not that far from downtown, and this is not a small city. Like,
Mm.
it's very weird. It's a thing that I'll talk with my other friends about sometimes. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, like I've never seen a skunk," or like I've never heard coyotes, and I'm like, both of those are very common here.
Yeah.
I hear coyote, like if the window's open during the summer to fall, it's coyotes at least once a week.
Yeah.
It's like God, I hope that wasn't somebody's pet. Like, but like good for them, I guess.
I I don't get it as much now that I'm more like in the city, more like suburban area. But when I lived back with my parents, we would get a lot of that. I definitely remember chasing like bobcats or coyotes like off the property, and I always felt bad because we had to keep them away from our animals, because we had chickens, we had quail, we had the whole cavalcade of little animals. We had rabbits, uh, and so we had to keep them off of the property to keep our animals safe. But I always felt bad when I had to resort to like more dramatic means, because I know they're just hungry. They're just hunting.
Yeah, like they don't understand the human boundary there, where it's like, no, this is not a food for you.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
go, that is easy prey. That is a rabbit that is in a cage that I can gnaw through the bars on. Like I can just eat that. It's like, no, no, you really can't, and you really shouldn't be here.
yeah. Also, I've just thought of a second answer to this question, and that is house hippos.
Oh.
I will never not be sad that they don't exist.
House hippo.
Do you know what that is? Have I never?
I I don't think you've ever shown me, but I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was a Canadian, like, a concerned children's advertisement ad that was just about like not trusting everything you see on TV. But the problem was
Uh-huh.
is that every child thought that house hippos were real, and then they got really sad once they finally understood the ad.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know it's Canadian only. It was a question of whether or not I talked about it before, because I'm like, I swear to God, I've talked about the house hippo a lot.
even then, some stuff like that. Like I definitely heard about it. I didn't know much about the situation. Like I didn't know that it was like literally a misinformation campaign kind of thing. But like, um, that's uh some stuff like that definitely makes it through due to like Twitter and other stuff like that.
Yeah. The idea behind it was that it was like footage of a real hippo that they had like basically just superimposed over shots of like a house at night, excuse me. And
Mm.
they're like miniature, smaller than a cat.
Mm.
Um Maybe even slightly smaller than like your average like rat.
Uh, Tiny.
Definitely smaller than your average rat. Hold on, rats are big. Maybe smaller or around the same size as like a house, like a house mouse.
uh, Maybe
And
like
the
guinea
idea was
pig size.
no, smaller. They were
Smaller,
really
tiny.
small. The idea was that they would like sneak out at night and like eat crumbs from peanut butter toast, and then they would make nests in like lint and like old like dust bunnies and stuff.
Uh,
And it was extremely good for like when you think about how it looked so real, especially for the late 90s, early 2000s.
uh.
Like it still holds up. Um and then it's like because somebody's talking about how like this is where house hippos could be found, and it's like that looked really real, didn't it? But you knew it couldn't be true, and no child caught that part of the ad.
They just went, oh my god, house hippos, cool.
Yeah. And it would like fade out to like footage of the actual hippo on like the savannah, but
Uh,
like, none of us understood this.
that's so funny. Oh my goodness gracious.
So house hippo is the answer of if we could break the bounds of reality.
Finally, dreams come true. Put it in the miss Discord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Where is that in? Is that just in general? Yeah, it's just in general. If you guys want to check it out. Um, we have one final question from viewers they submitted, and it is from Anonymous, and they asked, "What is your go-to echolocation noise? Parentheses, please give us a demo."
Uh, I'm dying. Um, no, I have certain like vocal stims that I'm trying to remember, and the moment I have to think about them, they don't come back to me. Oh my god. Like I do actually click my tongue a lot. Like I'll just be like, that's one that I do a decent amount.
Oh, that didn't pick up on Discord. This is so
Oh,
sad.
I'm so sorry. It's literally just clicking.
Uh,
Not quite like the anime like disdain noise further back. Um, if it didn't pick up, I don't know how to express this. Um, I do a lot of like I'll be when I'm walking around and I need to like find something, I'll be like.
I do that. I do that kind of shit all the time. Oh my god! Every time we yap like this, I just I make so many connections to like, oh my god, she's just like me for real, for real.
This has to stop happening. Like,
Oh goodness.
this happens. This also happens with me and my partner. I'll say something, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I do that too," and I'm like, "Oh my god."
We have to stop meeting like this.
We have to stop meeting like this. So it's been very much a joke between us that it's like, no, we're the same person. It's just like I'm the more feminine version, he's the more masculine version. Oh God, dog of wisdom. I do sometimes just do that where I'm like, I just do the one bop because that's the one that for whatever reason just like cycles in my brain.
Nuck, the thing is, I can never remember what question you end up submitting either, because you always submit with one of the silly names.
Oh, you're right. I do say Hedendis too. Or Hedendis? Just every once in a while. Usually in response to something else someone says. It's not very useful. I have a lot of vocal stims that, like, yeah, I just do while I'm sort of walking around, doing things, finding things, and I can't remember any of them.
I mean, you've remembered a couple of them, from the sounds of it, the very least.
I literally did one on stream earlier this week, and I can't remember what it was. It like came out, and I went, "Yep, that was just caught on stream." So
it happens. I mean, did it help you find the thing though? Did you successfully echolocate it?
That one was just filling the space. I'll be honest. Sometimes you need to, you know, like be able to like be like, all right, where are the walls again? Just really, like feel out the space again. I say this like I don't have eyes. And like bats' eyesight isn't literal. Like bats can see pretty well, actually.
But sometimes it gets dark, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing. Bats have decent sight in light, but they are nocturnal. Their night sight is about as good as an average human's.
Silly little creature. So why did they evolve like that?
Mother Nature does not perfect. She says good enough.
That's all right. Like a Roomba. Oh my god.
Just bumping into that, feeling the sensors. Figuring out the bounds of the space. I will say echolocation also does help for bats that eat insects, because those are generally harder to see, so the echolocation does allow them to see those just a lot clearer. Or at least find them a lot clearer. It's less useful for fruit bats, which is what I am, so.
What's your favorite kind of fruit?
So I really like strawberries, but the one I eat the most often is apples.
Apples.
Yummy. I'm a big like Macintosh fan in terms of the apple, the fruit, not the I want it to be just a little sour. Like I don't want it to be like Granny Smith sour or like crabapple sour. But I want just a little bit of a kick.
That's fair. Macintoshes are up there for me. I am a big Granny Smith head though. I love sour apples.
You would think I would, because sour is a flavor profile I just enjoy a lot of, like in most things. But for whatever reason in apples, I want it to still be a little bit sweet.
That makes sense. That's super fair. I think it's so funny that you can tell when people like occasionally have apples, or if they are apple eaters, because they know how varied apples get. They know the exact like brand and like make of the apple that they enjoy.
And they also have apples that they're like, listen, do not give me a red delicious.
Yeah,
I will not
amen.
eat it.
Why'd the fuck they name it that? That shit's ass.
It's bad. Now, a gala, if you can't get like a Spartan or a Macintosh, Spartan is a lot more common where I'm at, and it's the closest to Macintosh, so it's usually the one I end up getting if it's not the correct season for Macintosh. Let me say the whole word. But if I can't get one of those, I will say that a gala is usually my next go-to.
I'm so lucky to live in literal Applelandia, Washington, because I get my free pickings of kind of whatever I want.
Where I live, it's dry and warm. And not in the way that lets fruit grow very well.
Yeah.
We got a lot of canola, though. I can't really eat that the same way.
I just got a little hypnotized by your updated like hair rigging because it is so flowy, and you were shaking your head around, and I was like, oh my god, hair physics, layered hair physics, my beloved.
I am so glad that I am somebody who has always sort of moved my whole body when I'm getting like when I start getting like into things because oh
Uh-huh.
my god, it works so well.
It makes me so happy. It's the same reason why when I was talking to Rue about doing my ponytail, I was very particular about it. Like we went through iteration after iteration of getting the physics just right. I was like, that shit has to move, but it can't move too much. It can't be like jello in the wind hair. It has to still have like a certain amount of stiffness to it.
Listen, not dead or alive boob physics movement, but like
So true. Oh my god. Speaking of boob physics. um sorry. It just reminded me of some of the new Hololive device group
I know
uh
immediately.
debuted, and Chihaya, I was in awe at her model because her angles on her face are literally insane. Like I don't know what magic her model mama and papa committed, but like holy shit, the angles her face have are insane, and they got the boob physics perfect, so they aren't like fucking water balloons. Like there's definitely a few Hololive members in particular where it's just like ridiculous nonsense, but it's like it's so good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't it Iris who recently had a concert where it was like the tuning on her boob physics must have been off the charts? Like it was like she
Oh man,
moved and
dude.
they like jumped halfway across the country. Like
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, like literal tofu.
I sitting there, I was like, that's not
That's,
that
that's
is
not how
not
that
how that
works.
works. Like I listen. I give leeway for the fact that a lot of the time that's not how they work anyways, but that is extremely not how that works.
Yeah. Oh god, incredibly funny. I think model rigging and stuff like that is like it's such wizardry. It's one of the things that I'm like most into. Like if I go and I'm looking at like newer VTubers, or like I'm writing into people for the first time, like I the first thing I'm doing is I'm like analyzing their model and how they move, and it's not even like an art thing for me. Like I'm pretty tolerant of like a lot of different styles. In fact, I like it when it's like not just the sort of cookie cutter sort of VTuber look. Like I love stylized models, but I am very skeptical about like and analytical about how they're rigged in the first place. It's just like, ooh, I better not be seeing no jello pudding eyeballs.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A little bit of bounce to it is okay, but like come on.
It I don't have like if that is your preferred style, that's totally cool. But every time I look at it, I go, it's not
Yeah.
really how eyeballs.
Yeah. It makes me
I'm uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with the thought that my eyeballs could do that.
Yeah. If I blinked and my eyes just went wow wow wow, I wouldn't
Yeah,
be able to see. I already have a hard time seeing anything. I have glasses.
I held up my hands to do a peace sign again.
We need the Connie hand tracking.
God, I really do just. Oh, just I think about how much I use my hands. Oh God, because I'm like, yeah, me too.
It's okay if you get the camera set up for like the craft stuff, then you can just like put your hands in front of the camera and make the peace
Sure,
signs and stuff.
just like constantly rotate them directly in front of the camera. You can't actually see anything else.
It made me laugh of like um Raura doing like a cooking stream and showing her hands, and her being Italian, she was, doing the whole the whole 9 yards with her hands.
I'm just gonna say that my excuse is that I am French Canadian, and like European French people tend to be a lot more reserved with their movements. It's definitely out there, but like, God, you cannot stop a Quebecois person from just using their whole body.
Whole body.
Their whole body. It's certainly not coming from the German side of my family, all right? Like,
amen. Oh my god. Cece has the automaton hand gloves. Yeah. Oh, I think that stuff is so interesting. The hand gloves are very interesting to me. I understand why they do them, but it's just so curious. So intriguing. Corporate VTubing is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube recommendations are just filled up of banjo dancing shorts. Cause oh my god, the tracking on that.
Bancho, my beloved.
There's. I had a thought before I started talking about that, and now it's gone.
Mm. Goodbye.
I was going to say I don't actually know that much about Cece because of that group, Gigi has very quickly been the one that just like takes all of my attention.
Dude, Gigi is insane. I love her.
Gigi has the exact same energy as my Oshi Mint Phantom, so I'm like, yeah, no, these are they make the same content, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, Gigi is just like a Gen Z Mint Phantom. Just a little baby man. Oh my god.
And then, like I said, I respect a lot of Liz, but unfortunately, I know her previous life, and it's from a time period in my life I don't want to have to go back to.
That's totally fair.
I have no issues with what she was doing at the time. I don't want to go back there.
that is totally 100% valid. I just recently learned about that. I was unaware of her previous life, and thought it was fucking hilarious. I was addicted to her for like the first week, and then I haven't really watched or listened to too much more. But because she put out she did 7 different streams after she debuted, and 6 of them were karaoke streams, just like back to back to back, and I was just like, oh my god. Her voice is so pretty.
Oh yeah, she's extremely talented. Like, I have nothing but respect for her. It's just personally.
Yeah.
A problem.
That is very valid. Valid and real oomph. Gosh. Alrighty. It's getting close to 9 now.
Yep.
We've been going at this for about 3 hours, so I think it's about time to wrap up. Yeah. First things first. First things towards the end, I guess last.
Yeah, I lost count.
Can you shill yourselves? Places we can find you? Things that you're doing lately?
I'm doing mostly streams on Thursday over on my channel, which is ConConVTube. It's in the thing.
True, it's right there. It's there. Also right there in chat.
Whoa!
Can a mod do that? Thank you.
I wasn't ready with mine. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
You can also follow me on Blue Sky under the same name, and Also, that's where YouTube and my YouTube and my TikTok are also under that name. The only one that isn't is again my Tumblr. I'm never gonna fix it because it's funny to me now. Um, and also, you should keep an eye out for Tip the Scales because that's the other thing that I'm a part of and have been working on for almost a year at this point.
Getting close to it.
Oh God, it was like January. So yeah,
Mm.
January was the first note I had in my, or the first date I had listed in my notebook. So
Yeah, it's a little bit later than that for me.
yes, I admittedly was there slightly earlier.
Mm.
Um,
It's okay.
but super excited for that. So that's where you should find me Thursdays on my Twitch channel, and then Tip the Scales on probably every second Tuesday.
This is huge.
Am I gonna do other things? Probably at some point, but I don't know when.
Just keep an eye out. It's okay if you're subscribed and following and all of that nonsense. You'll see it when it comes out. Easy. Go follow. Any other? Oh, this part is for me. It's been a while since I've done this. As far as thank yous go, thank you to Rue, also known as Doggos, for making the background here, and the logo, and helping me out with that sort of stuff. Same with the schedule graphic, or not schedule, but the Sunset Dive graphic that I post on Blue Sky and places. They did all of that. Very, very helpful to me, and I love it. It's very pretty. Music is from Valhalla, made by I always forget how to pronounce it. It's like Yisbrid Games. They are awesome. Go check them out. They're making a new game, and I can't wait to play it sometime soon. They were what inspired Sunset Dive in the first place. Valhalla, good. Go play it. I'm going to be finishing that sometime this month, or finishing streaming it. I've already played the whole game, but and finally, for real this time, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You can, however, come back any day of the week for the usual variety content. I am going to be prepping a subathon for December, so be excited for that.